A Beginner's Guide to Boz Scaggs. Boz Scaggs was born William Roy Scaggs in Canton, Ohio. But he was raised in Oklahoma and Texas. He is a Grammy-winning singer/songwriter, having chart-topping success in rock, blues and jazz. He came into prominence in the late 1960s as a guitarist and occasional lead singer with the Steve Miller Band. He had met Steve Miller in prep school. His recordings span from rock, to blues, R&B, to pop standards, to jazz. Scaggs does not record frequently since going into semi-retirement in the 1980s. He preferred to focus on the nightclub he had opened in San Francisco. But he has recorded albums since then. Some of his early albums, like 1972's My Time, and 1974's Slow Dancer, were well received by critics, but did not achieve commercial success. That changed in 1976 with the breakout album Silk Degrees. The album peaked at number 2 on the Billboard album charts, driven by the success of two big singles, Lido Shuffle and Lowdown. But looking back on his earlier career, there were some notable highlights. Loan Me a Dime was recorded with Duane Allman in 1969. The song was a brilliant blues effort during a time of a blues resurgence. It was recorded at the famous Muscle Shoals Sound Studio. The album, only his second after a nearly 4-year hiatus since his debut, failed to chart, but it was not for a lack of talent. The song showcased the talent of both men. The song Lowdown was not the lead song from the 1976 album Silk Degrees. It followed the release of It's Over, which peaked at number 38 on the Billboard chart. Lowdown easily eclipsed It's Over, by peaking at number 3. The song was the definition of Silk for the album. It had a great vibe, great vocals, great bass line, great backing vocals, smooth keyboards and some great yet understated guitar riffs. 3 of the musicians on the recording of the song, including David Page, the song's co-writer with Scaggs, went on to form the band Toto. Ironically, the song only got noticed because a DJ in Cleveland started playing it on the radio, directly from the album. It was never intended to be a single, but it became the signature sound for Scaggs. Lowdown was followed by the release of a single, What Can I Say, which charted as high as number 42. But it was the 4th single released, Lido Shuffle, which emerged as the second big hit from the album. The Driving Shuffle peaked at number 11 in 1977 but is arguably the most recognized song from the album. The catchy, upbeat tune was also co-written by David Page. It's interesting to ponder what might have happened had the two continued to work together instead of Toto forming in 1977. One of the tracks on the Watershed Silk Degrees album that was never released as a single, and never charted in the US was Georgia. The song still got a lot of radio play, in spite of some bad decisioning for the album by the record company. The upbeat song is a perfect fit for the album, and while in places it might sound a little dated, it's a perfect summer song that's not out of place in any easy listening compilation. There's no doubt that had it followed the release of Lido Shuffle, it would have been a successful single. Georgia! In 1977, still riding the success of Silk Degrees, Scaggs was expected to follow up with another blockbuster in a year full of blockbusters. Down to Then Left was a solid album with great vocals, good songs, but no obvious single. 2 minor hits in Hard Times and Hollywood may have been a bit of a disappointment to the record label, however. It wasn't until the next album, 1980's Middleman, that Scaggs had another notable run of success. The album went platinum just as had its predecessor. 2 singles, Breakdown Dead Ahead and JoJo, made the top 20. JoJo in particular felt like vintage Scaggs, as he sings about a pimp working on Broadway. The silky vocals, and smooth instrumentation and melody, guaranteed Scaggs a hit. But Scaggs also had 2 other top 20 hits that year with Look What You've Done to Me from the Urban Cowboy soundtrack, and Miss Sun, both of which peaked at number 14 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts. Miss Sun was a previously unreleased song on the Scaggs compilation album, Hits. The run of 4 top 20 hits was Scaggs' most successful period outside of the multi-platinum year of Silk Degrees. After a semi-retirement, Scaggs finally re-emerged in 1988 with the album Other Roads. The album featured another modest chart success with the single Heart of Mine. The song has a distinctively 80s production sound, but Scaggs' vocals are unmistakable and are what give the song its emotional impact. That album was followed 3 years later by a tour with Donald Fagen's Rock and Soul Review. Scaggs continued with albums in 1994, Some Change, Fade into Light in 1996, released only in Japan that year, and an anthology album in 1997. Sporadic albums followed, Dig in 2001, But Beautiful in 2003, Speak Low in 2008, Memphis in 2013, A Fool to Care in 2015, and most recently Out of the Blues in 2018. Scaggs' 2003 album But Beautiful was a collection of jazz standards. The album debuted at #1 on the jazz chart, proving Scaggs' strength as a performer and vocalist. That's it. If you are interested in learning more about Boz Scaggs, I encourage you to look up his catalog for yourself. If you enjoyed the video, leave a thumbs up or a comment. Or both. And don't forget to like and subscribe.